I used to believe my life was perfect. I had everything I ever wanted, 2 beautiful children, a loving husband, and a career I was proud of. I lived in a big house in Connecticut, the kind everyone admired. I was juggling it all, and for a while I thought I had it under control. But everything changed the night I found Noah's phone sitting on the kitchen counter. It was late and he was working late again, or so he said. He always said that. I'd been busy with the kids, too tired to care much about his late hours. But that night, something nagged at me. I picked up his phone, thinking I'd check the weather app for a moment, only to see a text notification pop up. The name was unfamiliar. Erica. I shook my head, convinced it was just a work-related text. But something in my gut told me to dig a little deeper. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe it was just a colleague. Maybe I was just being paranoid. But that feeling wouldn't go away. The days after that felt different. I couldn't focus. Every time he came home late or his phone buzzed, I was tense, waiting for a sign, and then it came. One night, he walked in smelling of perfume that wasn't mine. I froze, my heart racing. It couldn't be happening. Not Noah. Not my Noah. When I confronted him, he told me it was nothing, just a work thing. He always had an excuse, didn't he? I wanted to believe him. But I couldn't. I couldn't ignore it any longer. Something inside me snapped one night when Noah was taking a shower, and I found his phone again, this time sitting alone on the bed. I opened it. My fingers trembled as I scrolled through messages and pictures of him and her. Erica. The messages were intimate, personal, the kind of messages that made my stomach turn. I didn't even know who this woman was, but it was clear he'd been with her for months. When he walked into the room and saw me holding the phone, his face drained of color. He didn't even try to deny it. He confessed, his words tumbling out in a jumble of guilt and regret. He told me it was a mistake, and that he didn't mean for it to happen. I couldn't breathe. A mistake. I couldn't believe it was happening. This wasn't just a mistake. This was betrayal. "Please, Claire," he begged. "I love you. It's over with her. It meant nothing." But it meant everything. My trust, my love, my family, all of it had been ripped apart. I didn't know what to do, but I knew one thing. I couldn't stay. Not like this. Not if he couldn't understand the pain I was feeling. I decided to stay at my mother's house a few days to stay away from him. It wasn't ideal, but I couldn't stay in that house, not with the memories. The kids were confused, but I didn't know how to explain this to them. I didn't even know how to explain it to myself. And then there was my mom. She had always been proud of me, but her pride had a weight to it. She had always told me I had the perfect marriage, the one every woman dreamed of. Now, with everything falling apart, I could feel her disappointment in every word she spoke. "You can't just throw it all away," she'd say, her voice full of judgment. "Think of the kids. Think of what this will do to your image, to your kids, to your family." She didn't get it. No one did. Julia, my best friend, was the only one who didn't lecture me. She'd been through her own share of heartbreak and loss, and she understood that sometimes it was okay to let go. "You deserve better than this," she told me over coffee one afternoon. "You're worth more than holding on to a man who doesn't value you." But I wasn't sure. Could I walk away from everything? Could I really leave Noah? And then she showed up. Erica. The woman Noah had been seeing. She knocked on my mom's door, demanding to speak to me. I should have slammed the door in her face, but I didn't. Instead, I let her in. I wasn't sure why. Maybe because I needed to hear her side of the story, or maybe because I needed to see who this woman was. She didn't waste any time. "I'm pregnant," Erica said, her words like a slap across my face. "And Noah's going to have to face the consequences of his actions." She tossed the ultrasound photo onto the coffee table, and my heart shattered into a million pieces. The woman sitting before me didn't even seem sorry. She was confident, unapologetic. She made it clear that Noah wasn't just a mistake in her life. He was the man she wanted, and now she was carrying his child. Everything I thought I knew about my life, about my marriage, felt like a lie. Noah came to visit me later that night, looking lost and desperate. "Claire, please," he begged. "I've made a mistake, but I still love you. We can fix this." I looked at him, my heart aching. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that our life together could still be saved. But I couldn't. The truth was there, staring me in the face. The trust had been shattered beyond repair. I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. Instead, I returned our house, packed a bag for the kids and me. I couldn't stay in this house with him, not when everything felt so broken. I wasn't just angry anymore, I was lost. I took some time for myself. I went to therapy, started talking about the pain I had been holding inside for so long. I leaned on Julia, who listened without judgment. I spent time with my kids, focusing on them, on creating new memories. Noah kept trying to get me back, calling, texting, apologizing, but I wasn't sure if I could ever trust him again. Maybe it wasn't just about forgiving him. Maybe it was about learning to forgive myself for staying in a marriage that had been broken long before I realized it. Days turned into weeks, and Noah kept calling. He sent flowers, tried to explain that it was a mistake again. But I couldn't listen to it anymore. He was sorry, but sorry wasn't enough. He had torn our family apart, and I decided to end it all. I met with a lawyer, something I never imagined I would have to do. The weight of it all hit me like a truck, signing divorce papers, ending a marriage that had seemed so perfect. I was terrified of what was coming. I didn't want the kids to suffer, but I knew deep down this was the only choice. For me, for them. The papers were filed, and a court date was set. I remember sitting in that lawyer's office, looking at the stack of forms, feeling the enormity of it. There was no turning back. Noah and I were no longer just a family. We were two people dividing up the remnants of our life together. And then something I didn't expect happened. No one did. It was a typical afternoon when Mia called me. I had just gotten back from picking up groceries. I sat down at the kitchen table, running my hands over the smooth wood, trying to center myself. Mia's voice broke through the quiet. She'd never called unless it was important. "I've been hearing things about Noah," she said, her voice hesitant but firm. "It's not good, Claire. I think you should know." At first, I thought it was about the divorce. Maybe Noah had done something more. But then Mia told me, bit by bit, how Erica had moved in with him after our split, how their relationship had changed, how the pregnancy wasn't the fresh start Noah had hoped for. It was just another chain. "I don't know all the details," Mia said, almost apologetically. "But it sounds like things are falling apart between them, Claire. Erica left him last night, and Noah's just not himself. I think he's realizing he made a mistake." It took a moment for her words to sink in. The man who had torn our marriage apart, the man who had betrayed me so completely, was now facing the consequences of his own decisions. But there was no part of me that felt triumphant. Only numbness. I didn't want to feel anything. I had spent months trying to detach from Noah, to sever any emotional tie to him. And when Mia told me the details, how Erica had moved out, how their relationship had deteriorated, I didn't even know how to process it. But now, Mia said, he was a shadow of the man I once loved. "Claire," Mia had said later in a softer voice, "I'm telling you this because I think you deserve to know. He's been trying to reach out in his way. I don't think he wants to be alone anymore." I couldn't decide whether to be angry or sad. A part of me wanted to feel vindicated, to know that the man who destroyed my family was now paying for his mistakes. But another part of me, one I didn't fully recognize, felt sorry for him. Maybe I had finally let go of the idea of him returning to me, but I still remembered how much I had once cared. I found myself thinking about Noah a lot after Mia's call, not with longing but with confusion. The man I once knew was now facing the harsh truth of his actions. But it wasn't just his betrayal that hurt me. It was that he had chosen to break my heart for someone else, someone who would never love him the way I had. The final blow came when I learned that Noah hadn't fought for Erica the way he should have. He hadn't tried to make their relationship work, even though he was responsible for the mess in the first place. Mia told me that Erica had left him, saying that she couldn't raise a child with someone so emotionally distant. I didn't feel satisfaction in knowing that he was alone now. I didn't feel anything, really. I was exhausted by the constant roller coaster of emotions. What did it matter anymore? He wasn't mine to fix. And whatever pieces of him were left, they weren't my responsibility. I started dating again after some times. Just casual at first. Just to see if I could feel something again. I was scared. But I was also free. And for the first time in a long time, I realized I was allowed to be happy, on my own terms. I wasn't sure where this journey would take me. There were still days when I thought about Noah, about what we had lost, and what we could never get back. But I also knew I couldn't keep living in the past. The truth was, I didn't need Noah to complete me. I was complete on my own. And as I looked at myself in the mirror that night, I saw a woman who was stronger than she realized. A woman who could create her own future, whatever that future held. And that's the end of the story. What do you guys think of this story? Do you have any things to say to the writer? Let me know in the comment section.